everyone, and welcome to another episode of Taco Matta Tuesday, the show where we eat healthy, delicious tacos and have conversations about life. I'm here today to tell you to give yourself permission to win unapologetically. Why not you, and why not now? As a talented athlete, you need to develop a sense of deservedness. If you worked hard and intelligently for a positive outcome, then you have already earned the reward. So you should feel proud of your accomplishments. Do not limit yourself to small goals and do not underestimate your personal ability to become more successful. Go for the glory. That was a little paragraph from the book The Champion's Mind, the book that I highlighted last week on the podcast. And I know so many of you messaged me after saying, I just got the book. It's awesome. So I'm so excited to hear that there's so many messages from this book that's hitting for you. And I just wanted to read one that really hit for me as I was waiting in between the different heats of a CrossFit competition I was at this weekend, watching my boyfriend Dave compete. And actually, speaking of which, that is what the podcast is majority going to be about today. Is I had the amazing opportunity to watch my very first CrossFit competition live, and I got to watch him do his thing, and it was such a fun weekend. I was just sitting there like a kid in a candy shop watching these women, so freaking powerful, just powerhouses, man, beastly. It was just so inspiring to watch so many people go after it and throw down this weekend that there was a couple of things that I wrote down that I want to share with you guys today. But before we do that, let's go ahead and talk about the taco of the week. Woo! Okay, so taco of the week. Breakfast taco. It's been a while. I mean, let's be honest. You could eat tacos at just about any time of the day. Don't let me say that this is the breakfast taco, although because it has an egg in it, I probably think that it should be a breakfast taco. Fried feta egg tacos. This is something that I saw on the interwebs, on the social medias, and I was like, that looks freaking delicious. Let's make it healthy, and it's already delicious and beautiful. Voila, let's bring it to our listeners. So if you are excited and intrigued to hear about a fried feta egg taco and how to make it in a very short amount of time, please visit the show notes before you leave the episode today to grab that recipe card. All right, let's move on, shall we? So, like I mentioned, this weekend, I got to do something completely unexpected. About a little over a week ago, Dave texts me and says, so I just got asked to be a teammate on a CrossFit competition that is happening this weekend. I have not done CrossFit in the last 3 to 4 years, and I don't know how I feel about it. And I instantly, for him, was like, you're doing it. Because, again, one of the things that I do believe in is you chase after the things that will provide you discomfort. It's not about winning. It's not about being perfect. It's not about stepping away from failure. It's about running towards all of those things almost and just seeing what you're capable of when the pressure hits, when the discomfort comes on strong. And so for him, selfishly, I wanted to see him do that, knowing that we're going to be traveling out in November to High Rocks in Dallas. And this is just an awesome opportunity for him to compete and mentally grow himself. And also selfishly, I feel like a lot of this year has been about me and my races, and he's traveled places for me to race, and I just I wanted it to be role reversal. I wanted it to be all about him and for him to just be in that glorious feeling. And so I was like, please do this because you need this. So anyways, long story short, he ends up doing the CrossFit competition, which if you have never heard of Coda CrossFit, they are in the Lafayette area. Y'all, this facility is stellar. And this competition was probably one of the best ran events that I had ever seen. And I've been to a good handful of events. So I hope that all the people that were there this weekend that run events of their own were taking notes because it was so good. But I digress on that. But just sitting there watching people, I got the itch. I was like, I'm doing this next year. When the signups come out, I'm doing this. I don't CrossFit. I wouldn't consider myself a CrossFitter, but there was a lot of the movements in those workouts that I do. And I would very much love to push myself in this way and be a part of this energy. And so the cool thing about a competition is adrenaline, which is something that you can't get in everyday training. I mean, sometimes, maybe, but there is nothing like stepping onto a competition floor, having people watching you, knowing that the time is counting down and you are getting ready to freaking explode. There's nothing like it, and I can't wait to experience that, even though it's total like bubble guts feeling. But when you are put in that situation on that stage, the things that you accomplish are insane. And that's why I believe that we should put ourselves in those situations more. I saw an absurd amount of people PR. And one thing that was really cool about this gym is that when they get a PR, anyone in the gym for that matter, whether it's someone at a competition, someone that regularly trains there, drops in for an open gym, you name it. If they get a PR, they bring around a PR gong and you ring the gong. And so the gong was freaking flying through most of these workouts that were for, 1 rep max or things like that. It was so cool. And so seeing how many people were hitting PRs and having some of the biggest moments of their life, or at least in their career, their athletic career to this point, it really highlighted a couple of things for me. The first thing is that it goes to show how much we hold ourselves back. Like, we have to wait for this adrenaline to hit in order for all of a sudden, like, I don't want to say we black out, although some of us probably do, but like those limitations and those blockers that we put on ourselves, they somehow start to float away because we just go to that flow state and we just push ourselves to go there. We push ourselves to figure it out 9 times out of 10. And so imagine if in our daily training, if in life, we realized how much we hold ourselves back. And if we were able to call ourselves out during those moments and then continue to find a way to put one step forward, even if it's the smallest step. I know that I do this quite often, and being able to hold myself back in my career, in ninja, in my training, like, it's so easy to do. But I think this is just a stellar reminder that we do hold ourselves back so much. And if we can just call ourselves out in the moment and really walk through in deep conversation with ourselves around what's true and what's not true, I think what we can come to is a mental space that will allow for us to take another tiny step forward and then another tiny step forward after that. And the more steps forward that you take, the more that you learn, the more that you grow, the more that you build trust and confidence within yourself. And that's where the magic is. The second thing that also highlighted to me is that things come together when it truly matters. All that we have control over in this life, in athletics, and whatever it is that you're working towards, is putting in the prep work and building the right confident attitude. So therefore, it makes 0 sense to worry about the outcome and all the other small things or situations that could potentially happen. Stay consistent in the work that you put in. Continue to trust the process and know that you are going to let it rip when the time is right. Don't allow for yourself to stress out over the little things as you train. I know as I'm building up to world championships right now, like, if one workout doesn't go right, it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'm not ready yet. Like, holy crap. And it's like, no, it's fine. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Today wasn't my day, and that's fine. And for God's sakes, maybe Worlds. It won't be my weekend. And that's okay. It is totally okay. This is not life or death here. But I can promise you, if you put in the work, continue to celebrate the process, and trust in your training, when the time matters, you are going to let it rip, and you're going to let it rip fully, and it's going to be awesome. And that doesn't mean that you're going to win. It doesn't mean that you're going to seek perfection. But I can tell you something incredible is going to happen for you if you allow for it to actually happen, if you seek it out. So take all the worry out of it. Let yourself live a little, just like I mentioned last week. During these big builds for a championship or for a race, chase moments of joy, folks. The process is where the success is at. The success isn't waiting for you at the top of the podium. That is one moment in time. Success comes from the work that you're putting in and day out, and it's time to recognize that and let go of everything else, like the outcome, that really does not matter. This matters. Who you're becoming in this moment by showing up every single day, that's what matters. All right, next thing. I was having a conversation with Dave watching one of the heats go for one of the events, and we were talking about how much progress the sport of CrossFit, and honestly, sports like DECA, for example, how much progress these sports have made over the last couple of years. I know that we were watching a snatch event, and he was just like, to think that, in this XYZ year at this games, people were snatching this, and now like this is the bare minimum. And I even brought up the example of, I was watching the mile world championships over the weekend. I was watching the team races, and to think that the world record that was actually set at world championships last year was 15 something, and Kevin and I went and did like a 14:30. I'm like, oh my God, like we are just significantly, as a clan of insanely amazing people, continuing to push the bar higher and higher and higher. And so what I told him then was that if athletes are not careful, it is so easy to forget that, like how much progress the sport is making. And then all of a sudden they're beating themselves up for timing out on an event or failing to do XYZ lift. We have to remember that comps are special, and the fact that they are built to throw you massive challenges and show you what you are capable of when you put yourself in that mental space to do it. And what a freaking gift that is, you guys. So if you quote unquote failed at something or failed in a comp recently, but you went for it and you gave it everything that you had, why can't that be enough? Why can't those be the moments in your journey that teach you something and ultimately build you? Guys, when you feel like you're stuck, remember that the challenges that you seek, the resistance that you continue to face, that is the true gift. And you are being tested because someone, somewhere, or the universe totally believes that you are capable of handling it. And maybe not right now in that moment, but over time with persistence, you one day will be. Tell me that is not a gift, and that is not a wonderful reframe to think about. So don't get lost in, I did the thing or I didn't do the thing. Again, get lost in the progress. Get lost in the process. And always remember that pressure is the ultimate privilege. If you do not experience that, if you are constantly winning over and over and over again with ease, you are not putting yourself in the right situations to truly tap into your potential. It is when you put yourself in these pressure-filled situations, that is where you learn so much about yourself and, again, go out and seek your true potential. And that is the money right there. I hope that you start to seek out more of those moments, that if you're sitting there thinking about, should I say yes or no to this opportunity, that alone inspired you to be like, I'm going to do this. I have no idea how, but I know that I want it for XYZ reasons, and therefore I'm going to figure it out step by step, even if I don't know the right step to take at first. So put yourself in pressure-filled situations. Last thing that I want to talk about, and this actually has nothing to do with the CrossFit competition this weekend, but it had to do with like the hours before this, is I was driving, I don't remember where I was driving to, but I looked up and it was like 7 a.m. in the morning, and the sunset was absolutely gorgeous. And my mom is like she loves to take a lot of pictures of like the moon and the sun, just like fun things like with the mountains, just nature-esque. And I texted her, I was like, did you see the sunrise this morning? And she goes, wow, I'm really happy that you noticed the little things. There's so many people in this world that don't ever notice that. It's sitting there right in front of them, and yet they don't ever notice that. And I said, yeah, you're totally right. She goes, and it's easy right now to notice these things when life is beautiful, and, right now your life is pretty great. And so there's a couple of things that I thought of here. one, I totally agree with her that it's easy to see all the amazing things that are happening for you when life is easy. But man, is it really hard to see how life is showing up for you when it is hard and it is rough. This is a reminder to go and look for the little things that truly matter. There are so many things in front of you from day to day that are just waiting to be recognized by you and to be shown gratitude. But yet, because we're caught up in whatever is going on in our lives that seems like such a big deal, but in reality, it's not. We get distracted and we forget about those things and we let a lot of those things pass us by. So if you feel lately incredibly frustrated, or if you feel like life is just throwing you a curveball or a lot of curveballs right now, how can you do a reframe? Maybe put on a different pair of glasses to see how life is showing up for you in this moment, whether it's in terms of a lesson that's being taught or just seeing past all the crud and the crap and being like, wow, there are a lot of things actually showing up for me right now. The second thing that it made me think about, she mentioned, my life is pretty awesome right now. And it is. And what it really made me think of was a year ago, I remember I was completely heartbroken. I just ended a relationship with someone, and I honestly thought that this guy was going to be someone that I was with for a really long time. I really did feel that. And I was so heartbroken over it, like sick to my stomach, unable to like just function as a normal human being for an entire month. And I just was like, I just remember like looking up at the sky and just being like, when is everything going to be okay? When is it ever going to be my turn to be loved or to feel loved in this way? And I just honestly thought that the pain was never going to end. And, it did. Clearly, I'm fine. I was able to do a lot of personal growth through it and overcome a lot of things. But it's just crazy to think what happens in an entire year. Shortly after this whole situation happened, I remember going off to Decker World Championships and seeing Kevin Gregory race and just thinking, I don't want to do this alone anymore. I want to be a part of a team, and I want to have a coach that can see how capable I am and push me to my potential. And that's when I reached out to my current coach, Kevin Gregory, and he's done nothing short but take me to my potential and has helped me become one of the best in the sport. I also, in February, I met Dave, and at first I was in a relationship with someone else, but over time, him and I trained together and got to know each other really well. And now I am in a relationship where I feel completely safe and cared for, unlike any other way that I've felt before. And I am truly so insanely happy with my relationship and who I'm choosing to spend my time with. It's just been absolutely incredible. I'd give anything for that man. And I know that he would do the same for me. And just again, thinking like a year ago, I was just wondering if I was ever going to be loved and cared by someone, or if I was going to be single for the rest of my life. And now I have someone who completely blows anyone else, sorry, everyone else, but completely blows everyone else out of the water. Like, it's just crazy to me. And I even think about too with my career, like, I put out into the universe that I really wanted to do more DECA specific online one-on-one coaching. And now I'm starting to fill those seats and people are starting to come to me and recognize me, and like things are starting to take off. And it's just so cool. Again, when a year ago, all of this was just a distant dream. And do you know what it took? It took patience and it took trust. The universe, you guys, will have your back always, either by teaching you lessons and making sure that certain things will not work out. I know there are times where we are desperately wishing that things would work out and we just truly feel that this is the thing. But the universe knows. The universe always knows of what it is that you really need, and better yet, what it is you actually deserve. So if things are being taken away from you right now and it feels unfair, switch the perspective to there's something better that is going to happen on the other side of this. And all I need to do right now is control my mindset and my attitude and how I approach the next steps moving forward. If you do that, I can promise you there's something better than you ever could have imagined on the other side of this. So just keep going. Thank you guys so much for showing up for you today, and I truly hope that this episode hit. If it did, please be sure to share this with friends, family members, maybe even on social media stories if it really did, or rate and review the podcast if you have not already. Again, thank you for allowing me the space to continually come in here and share messages of impact, and I cannot wait to do more on next week's episode of Taco About a Tuesday. See you then.